it comes to the topic of pornography, I have to speak from experience because this is something that I looked at all growing up in junior high and high school. The first pornography I ever saw, I was in second grade. My friend and I were driving around the neighborhood on our bikes and we saw this magazine in the gutter. I'm like, oh, what's that? And we pick it up. Oh, nice to meet you. What do we do with it? My friend said, let's keep it. And I'm like, well, I know, but where do we put it? He said, let's put it at your house. I'm like, oh, good idea. And so we rode the bikes back to my house and I'm like, well, I don't want to get caught. I'm not putting it inside. So I said, I know what to do. So we ripped out a bunch of pictures, crumpled them up in little balls, and we shoved them into bushes in the front so that nobody could find them. Problem is, my dad trimmed the hedges Saturday afternoon, found porn growing on the plants out front, so we kind of got busted by the porn plant, but we got back into it. And all along, we would say, hey, it's not a problem. Nobody's getting hurt. She's willing to pose, I'm willing to look at it, it's not a problem. But what happens is when a man ingrains himself in this habit of looking after women lustfully, and he does this page after page and year after year, what happens when the day comes for him to actually love a woman? He has no clue. All he knows how to do is take his own pleasure. It's like, imagine if you lived your whole life playing baseball, batting right-handed, and then the day comes, you make the big leagues, you get into the World Series, and there you are batting on the bottom of the ninth, and the coach says to you, okay, but now I want you to bat left-handed. You would have no clue. You would make a total fool of yourself. And the same thing happens with human love. When I train my brain to look at women with nothing but lust, and then the day comes to love a girl, I have absolutely no clue. And I've also lost my ability just to be captivated by a woman. Because if I'm looking at porn and changing the picture every 15 seconds, and then I get bored with women who have the most beautiful bodies on earth, what's gonna happen when you get married? Be captivated by one until death do you part? It doesn't happen. And so don't buy into this lie that porn is harmless. Porn is perhaps more harmful to human love than anything out there.
Sometimes when a girl asks me about modesty and fashion, the best way I can describe it is this. On Christmas morning, if you walked down and saw all of your presents unwrapped, all right there, everything. Every surprise, it's a disappointment because it's all there. Modesty is the same way. When we veil ourselves with our clothing, we are saying something about our body, saying that this is important. Who we are is important. My body is important. And I'm gonna protect it by dressing modestly in a beautiful way, in a glorious, glamorous, radiant way that we as women can do. And so when we dress modestly, we are saying something about ourselves. We're saying that we're more than just a collection of parts. We're very important. Our bodies are very important. And that modesty protects the mystery of who we are and our love.
You know, I've heard it said that you can't always control when a train rolls into the station, but you can control whether or not you choose to get on that train. The same can be said about temptations. You know, when we least expect it, many times we're going to encounter temptation, whether or not it comes through a TV show or a website or a conversation. We'll have to encounter these moments that are difficult and we have to choose. God's given us freedom to make good choices. John Paul II actually said that freedom exists for the sake of love. What we do with our freedom to choose to say yes to His call or to a temptation is where we choose to give in or to become the strong person that God calls us to be. Now, whatever fills our imaginations is ultimately going to fill our hearts. What we need to decide is, how are we going to intentionally spend our time? Who do we choose to hang out with? What do we choose to read? What do we spend our time looking at on the internet and watching on TV? These are things that we can control. And if we do, we'll be able to become a person that is different. You want to be different? Be someone that's pure. You want to be different? Be someone that makes radical choices for God. In being different like that, it will be cool. It'll be the kind of cool that leaves you with no regrets.
I know for me and my experience when I was 12, I didn't get this talk. In fact, I had a book slid underneath my bed to talk about the difference between a man's body and a woman's body. And they were very brief soundbite conversations with my parents as I was running out the door about, be safe, don't do that, but not a sit-down conversation about how amazing my body is, the beauty that it is, the treasure that it is, and that it should be protected. And so when I was 15, I lost my virginity. And then I came back to my parents and They did help me, and I was able to receive healing, and it was amazing. But I think a lot of this could have been prevented by good education, loving parents and educators who want to reach out and talk about uncomfortable things, because what's more uncomfortable is dealing with your kids at 15 who are heartbroken. We just don't know. I think that's the hardest thing. You don't think when you're 15 that when you're 31, that will still hurt.